Thank you for your patience, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Christina Paul-Solo, and I am a program analyst at SNAP here at the Food and Nutrition Service. Today we're going to be discussing basic information about the request for applications for the 2017 Process and Technology Improvement Grant, which I will refer to as PTIG. But before we begin, I just want to let everyone know that the webinar is being recorded and that this PowerPoint, as well as the audio from the webinar, will be posted under the Grant Opportunities and FNCS section of the public website, which I will demonstrate how to navigate to at the end of this webinar. Lastly, all lines have been placed on mute and are in listen-only mode. At the end of the webinar, I'll open up the lines for questions, but in the meantime, the option is available to enter in a question in the chat here in your upper right-hand corner. And with that, let's get started. So first off, we're going to talk about some of the basics, such as the eligible applicants for this grant, as well as some deadlines, the funding priorities for this year's grant competition, the review criteria that the panel will be using to evaluate the application submission procedures. Applications will be submitted into grants.gov, and at the end, as I previously said, I'll open up the line for questions. So the purpose of this grant competition is to support efforts by state agencies and community-based partners to develop and implement simple, straightforward SNAP applications to enhance eligibility determination systems or other measures that improve access to SNAP by eligible applicants and recipients. Proposals should focus on improving the quality and efficiency of operations and processes for SNAP. Specifically, FNS is interested in funding initiatives that use new technologies or innovative techniques that examine office processes in order to improve processing timeliness for initial or recertification applications. Some key dates. All applications must be submitted to grants.gov by June 19th at midnight. And any incomplete proposals will not be reviewed. FNS will announce the recipients of this year's grant no later than September 30th of this year. And the project period for grants awarded this year will begin at the end of the fiscal year, so September 30th, 2017. And it's a 3-year project period that will last until September 30th, 2020. The eligible entities that can apply for this grant are the 53 state agencies that administer SNAP, so that's the 50 states along with D.C., Guam, and the Virgin Islands, state and local governments, agencies providing health and welfare services, public health or educational entities, and private nonprofit entities, which include community or faith-based organizations, food banks, or emergency food organizations. The award information. So FNS, subject to the availability of funding, has up to $5 million available for this year's grant competition. Grants are awarded through a competitive process. In other words, submission of a proposal does not guarantee funding. There is no cost sharing or cost matching required by grantees. Funding per award is dependent upon the number of awards granted. The anticipated number is between 6 and 11. Anticipating funding per award between $20,000 and $2 million. And as previously stated, the project period of performance is 3 years. In the past, we've awarded grantees less funds than originally requested in their proposal. Sometimes this has occurred because something a grantee has requested funds for wasn't allowable, or the goals of the project could be achieved with less funds. For example, if there were exorbitant travel costs, that's something that we look at, or if it seems that the project could be completed with less funds. And expensive projects that request the full amount of $2 million maximum per proposal must really present robust, strong proposals. This is not to discourage expensive proposals, but is to remind applicants that we have a limited amount of funding to work with. So the project period is 3 years, and so that means that all Obligated funds and activities under the grant must be completed by September 30th, 2020. If the activities funded under the grant are part of a larger eligibility system project with a total projected cost exceeding $6 million, an advanced planning document, or ADP, must be submitted, and that's available on our SNS public website. It's also mentioned in the RFA. For brief summary information about projects funded under the PTIG in the past, you can visit the same website that you visited to register for this webinar, and I'll be navigating to that at the end of the webinar as well. So the funding priorities for this year's grant proposals. Funding restrictions. Funding restrictions, pre-award costs will not be awarded, so that is any costs incurred prior to the grant project period, which begins in September of this year. Funds are intended for new projects and not for ongoing costs of existing projects. Projects predicated on waiving SNAP regulations are not allowable and will not be considered for funding. The funds can only be used for SNAP's share of a project cost. So if a project includes programs other than SNAP, the budget must show how the costs are allocated among the benefiting programs and demonstrate that this grant is only going to fund SNAP's share of the project cost. The project cannot devote more than 25% of requested funds to outreach activities, such as informational materials or pure application assistance, or if the purpose is purely to attract or recruit SNAP applicants. Funding priorities for this year. There are three main funding priorities: modernization and innovation of office operations, improved customer service, increased efficiencies in case management. So these priorities tend to change from year to year, but they're based and shaped by best practices and successes of past PTIG grantees. In designing projects to address these priority areas, applicants should consider using innovative methodologies like new or improved technology, data analytics, business process reengineering or BPR, and community partnerships. Projects should try to serve traditionally underserved populations. Those are especially encouraged. So for the first priority area, modernization and innovation of office operations, it focuses mostly on examining office processes in order to identify areas where modernization and innovation can be applied and efficiencies can be implemented. This could be anything from simple upgrades to existing eligibility systems, to implementing the use of document imaging systems, to the use of any number of business process reengineering techniques, or BPR. BPR can be used to identify areas in need of improvement and implement changes. Examples of BPR techniques include creating a two-track triage team for low-risk and high-risk applications, forming paperwork and processing teams, or managing teams for handling specific types of cases, so for specialization of caseworkers in specific policy areas. Modernization and innovation of office operations can also improve communication between staff office and the clients to reduce churning. And for the purposes of SNAP, we call churning is defined as any time a household exits SNAP and then re-enters the program within 4 months. It's a policy concern due to the financial and administrative burden incurred both by the SNAP household and the SNAP state agencies. So communication improvements such as enhancements to mailing, notification processes, or call centers can help reduce churning. And as previously stated, methodologies such as employing community-based partnerships to tackle some of these issues or using data analytics as part of a broader strategy in combination with some of the projects I've described are encouraged. So the second priority is improved customer service. This priority focuses on ways to provide clients with straightforward information regarding their case status. This includes measures aimed at simplifying the SNAP enrollment process, facilitating reporting requirements, or improving client retention and enhancing overall customer service. Improving customer service has the added benefit of reducing the time casework is spent on things like data entry, and reduce the number of phone calls about simple matters such as when benefits will be available, or may result in fewer lost documents due to use of implementation of document imaging systems. So this decreases the administrative burden on clients and caseworkers alike. Some examples of projects focused on improving customer service include electronic application filing, increasing phone capacities, or creating a merit-based or merit staff call centers, providing eligibility workers with the resources to conduct more phone interviews, web platforms that provide text message alerts and reminders to clients, web-based access to real-time case status, examples such as web portals that provide online case access to clients on their case status, receiving notices, it helps facilitate reporting requirements, or could be an app designed for a tablet or a smartphone that allows clients to upload documents and view and update this case information. Again, community partnerships, CPR, and data analytics can be used as parts of a larger strategy in combination with any of the other types of projects I've described for this priority area. The final priority area for this year is increased efficiencies in case management improvement. These projects promote innovative technological enhancements to state eligibility systems, resulting in more accurate and efficient case management. One methodology that works well with this priority area is data analytics. Data can be used to detect patterns of client access and certification processing issues in order to improve case management. Gathering and analyzing data can help identify improper use and or timing of notices, or can help pinpoint eligibility workers in need of training, or identify specific subgroups of clients with higher rates of churn. Once a pattern has been detected, for example, high rate of churn or specific type of application or report, more effort can be put into improving that specific notice or application or report in the future, and help provide clients and eligible applicants with their benefits in a more timely manner. So just to recap, the purpose, priorities, and deadlines associated with this grant competition. The purpose is to develop and implement simple SNAP application and eligibility determination systems that will improve access to SNAP by eligible applicants and recipients. The priorities are modernization and innovation of office operations, improved customer service, increased efficiencies, and case management. The due date for this grant competition is June 19th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next, we're going to discuss the review criteria. A review panel will be convened to evaluate proposals successfully submitted to grants.gov by the deadline. Incomplete proposals submitted after the deadline will not be considered. The review panel will evaluate each grant application based on how well it addresses each of the following evaluation criteria. The resulting scores will provide a ranking of applications according to technical merit for use by a selecting officer. So the review criteria are soundness or merit of project design, graded 40 points, budget appropriateness and economic efficiency, organizational experience, staff capability and management, 15 points, implementation and evaluation, 15 points, and the overall presentation of a proposal, 5 points. The first part of the review criteria that I'm going to talk about is soundness or merit of project design. In this section, it's the most heavily weighted of the evaluation criteria. It contains an analysis generally of how the project you're proposing will help solve a problem. So the proposal should include and clearly describe the problem to be solved and provide evidence that the proposed approach is well suited to solve the identified issue. So the impact section of the soundness or merit design section talks about how the proposal demonstrates how the project would directly and positively benefit SNAP applicants and recipients. And in the quality section, the proposal It's being assessed for whether it is thoughtful, clear, and uses relevant facts and knowledge. The sustainability section will describe the project, if it can continue after the funding period ends, or explains how various elements of the project will be maintained past the project period. And then letters of commitment or endorsement. The relevant letter is included with the application, and we'll go into more detail on that. Innovation. The proposal demonstrates that it's an innovative initiative. Feasibility. Is the project capable of being accomplished and is likely to succeed based on the information provided in the proposal. So the special instructions associated with this section are about the letters of commitment and letters of endorsement. So a letter of commitment is required if a grant proposal is from a state agency working in partnership with another organization. The letter of commitment must describe the organization's role in the project, the amount of time it intends to commit to the project, and an attestation that it will cooperate with the grant applicant in implementing the project. So the letter must be provided on the organization's letterhead and signed by an authorizing official. And you can address the letter to our grant officer, Kimberly Shields. So for the letter of endorsement, this requires if an applicant is not partnering with a state agency. The state agency's letter of endorsement must explain the state agency is aware of the project's impact on the system and its support of the project, and be on the state agency's respective letterhead and be signed by an authorizing official. Just to clarify, if you're not one of the 53 state agencies, staff state agencies, and you'd like to submit a PTIG proposal, you must get a letter of endorsement from your respective state agency. So if you're a nonprofit in a state, you must go to the state agency and ask for a letter. Or if you are in a county-based administered staff state, you still must get a letter of endorsement from the state. So in the budget appropriateness and economic efficiency section, this is where you discuss the line item budget and categorize the various aspects of the project, how it will be paid for. The narrative should provide detail enough for the reviewers to easily understand how costs were determined and how they relate to the goals and objectives of the project. There should be adequate justifications of budget costs based on current industry standards and costs. Information on costs should be obtained from applicable organizations or from online sources. You can show evidence of that in your proposal. The budget appropriateness and economic efficiency continued. So just a little bit more information. If desired, you can provide a tiered budget and narrative that describes adjustments that the applicant that you would make if you're awarded different funding levels. So you could provide ideal situation and a scaled back budget. And if you are a nonprofit, you must include your 501c3 determination letter with your proposal. So as stated in the RFA, applicants that are working with a contractor, they're required to issue, a bid. You have to provide information about that in the proposal. So a bid should provide a narrative, explain the requirement, and provide a reasonable estimation of contractual and consultant costs. So proposals which omit the required budget forms, budget narratives, and/or line item descriptions will not receive the full point value. Therefore, applicants should recognize that a well-written budget narrative which justifies the proposed project expenditures assists reviewers in reviewing the process. So even if you're not exactly sure the names of various entities or specific staff in the consulting firm that we're going to be working on this project, if you'd like to put out a contract to help administer this project, you have to provide the necessary information on the consultant's salary, that would be for various titles, and how much time, and the hourly wage, any kind of specialized qualifications, anything related to the actual bid that you're going to put out. You should provide that information in your proposal. So in the RFAs, there's a budget checklist, and it provides some ways of making sure you provide all the necessary information in your proposal. So does the proposed project and budget meet the bona fide needs of the RFA? Is the budget summary included? Does it agree with the calculations shown on the OMB budget form? Is the budget in line with the project description? Make sure that budget figures are consistent across various displays and narratives in your proposal. And the checklist can be found on pages 27 and 29 of the RFA. The next section, organizational experience and staff capability and management. So it's 15 points, and the various things you'll have to address here are the staff. So the key staff, such as the project director or manager, they're identified and resumes are included. And as previously stated, you're working with a contractor and you're going to be putting out a bid, slightly different process, but still a description of what qualifications a person would need for various positions. And just even if you aren't able to identify the project manager and you're not working with the contractor, just include job descriptions for the positions to be advertised. So credibility, in this section, you establish the credibility of your organization's ability to carry out the project. Can describe history of other things you worked on that have been similar to this, showing that you have the necessary experience and infrastructure. Oversight. So there's effective and consistent oversight by a qualified manager or managers throughout the project. How will that be dictated? You'll describe there. Communication. So an organizational chart would be helpful in this section, and demonstrate how effective communication by various stakeholders will be taking place. And then time commitment. Outline the time and effort the project director, key staff, etc., or a partnering organization will contribute to the project. So, two separate sections here of review criteria. There's the implementation and evaluation. In this section, you're going to discuss the timeline. So the proposal should include a project timeline that identifies proposed tasks and demonstrates that efficient time is allotted for various activities. Evaluation, so describes a well thought out, organized review and evaluation process that will measure whether the goals of the project have been met. The evaluation should focus on measuring the impact of the project and how it seeks to achieve that. So be sure to include information on who will be measuring the project goals, how they'll be measured, when they'll be measured, and what exactly you'll be measuring. And the presentation, so it's just the quality of the overall proposal. The application is well presented, well written. It has no grammatical errors or minimal. The application is single-sided. So this information in the RFA, when it talks about the margins and single-sided pieces of paper, it's more for if it's being printed out, but the same page limitations apply to the electronic version and all should be submitted electronically to grants.gov. So 25 pages is the maximum page limit, but this doesn't include the cover sheet or the table of contents or resumes, any kind of attachments like that. And also please number your pages, that's very helpful as well. Alright, so the next section we'll be discussing application submission and just some additional information. So there are several forms that you need to fill out that are required to be proposed with the application package. So when you're going through grants.gov, you'll see the proposal, and it'll have the series SF424 family of forms. So that includes the application and instructions for federal assistance, budget information and instructions, assurances of non-construction programs, and the other form that you'll need to fill out is the disclosure of lobbying activities from the SSLLO. So again, these are all in the application package in grants.gov, and you can also access them on grants.gov by going down to the menu of forms and selecting the SF424 form. So there's a questionnaire associated with this year's application package. It's on pages 30 to 32 of the RSA. So please respond to this questionnaire and assist FNS in evaluating your accounting system to make sure that it's adequate and appropriate and can transparently use federal funds. Also, please be aware there are several different profiles and application-related information that you need to do. So you need a DUNS number in order to submit an application. It's the Data Universal Numbering System. You have to register in this new system called SAMS, the System for Award Management. So all of this takes a bit of time. To register in SAMS, you have to have the DUNS number and a tax ID number, and taxpayer's name is required. It takes about 48 hours to get verification into SAMS. And applicants must have a valid SAMS registration no later than 3 days prior to the application due date. The migration of permissions and/or renewal of an entity's records requires 5 to 7 days. And then the registration process for grants.gov takes between 3 to 5 days. So just be aware there's some lag time in between the various steps that you need to complete before you can submit a proposal onto grants.gov. Just making sure you have all the up-to-date information, verification, so have a DUNS number, make sure that everything is registered to SAMS, and it takes a little bit of time to just get the registration process through grants.gov. So plan accordingly. Also, when you're providing file attachments into grants.gov, if you're trying to upload things, there's some special characters that won't be supported, so just be aware of that. Long file names cause problems sometimes. Try and limit that, and yeah, there's just some little quirks there. So I have listed here just quick reference links. So for information regarding the PTIG grantee project summaries from past years, it's available on the same website where you register for this webinar. If you have further questions about the RSA, you can email Kimberly Shields. And if you're interested in providing a proposal for this grant competition, please submit your application onto grants.gov by June 19th. All right. So before I open it up to questions, I just want to show everyone how to get to the PTIG page on the FNS intranet. So this is the home page for the Food Nutrition Service. So you just go to the Grants tab and go to SNAP. Alright. And then it's the first one listed here, the FY2017 Process and Technology Improvement Grant. Apologize for it being so slow. I'm not on Wi-Fi. While we're waiting for that, let me just see if there are any written questions that I can view. I think I have to stop sharing. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I have a question about how to upload information to grants.gov. They're having issues with that, coordinating with that. I'll reach out to you about that separately, but just know that I did read that. There was a question about a special AD 3030 form. That's not part of our application package. So I don't believe you need that, but if you're working with the state, maybe that's a state requirement. I'm not familiar with that, but I can follow up and ask about that. Still, that website is very slow today. I saw it was doing maintenance earlier. So if you are going to be using a consultant for this project, you don't have to identify the consultant already if you don't know that who they will be. If you need to put out a bid, then you would have to provide just an outline of the proposal that you're going to use to put out the bidding process. So just to describe that in your proposal. And the questionnaire that's in the RFA will not be part of the page limit, the 25 page limit for the proposal. And I can provide the PowerPoint and some examples of combinations of things you can do with the priority areas once I was going to show you where this was going to be posted on our website. So that's happening. Okay, well, let's just move forward and open up the lines, see if anybody else has any further questions. All participants are now in interactive talk mode. Okay, so the lines are now open. Does anyone have any additional questions? Sure, go ahead. Yeah, you had mentioned that for entities that might be applying that are in a county grant program, yes. Correct. If you were working with the county, if you're a nonprofit, then you get a letter of commitment from the county office that you're working with. But if not, if you're in a state and you're not one of the state agencies, then you need a letter of endorsement to the state agency. Okay, so if you're working with the county agency or a letter of commitment from them, is that also a letter of endorsement from the state? Yes. Thank you. Are there any additional questions? if any questions come to mind, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. For purposes of detailing our cost model and also putting together the business impact statement, what can we get information about what's the total number of staff participants are currently in the program across the, is that publicly available data?
I'm not sure where you could find the latest information. We have an office of policy support that does staff characteristics report that's publicly available. So that should be on our public website. It's the staff characteristics report. If you want something more in depth than that, there should be contact information associated with that report on the website. And if not, just reach out to me and I'll try and connect you with the right party.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, as you can see from the shared screen, our website is currently down. But it is a real thing. I will provide the link and I'll let our YT know that this has been an issue. But once the website has been fixed and the PowerPoint and the audio from today's webinar will be there. So I'll let you all know by an email. Are there any other questions?
Yes. I'm wondering if you can elaborate a little bit more on the restriction regarding new project only and not ongoing costs for existing projects. Say if I want to fund sort of an innovative process in that different sort of something that we're currently doing,
I guess for a new project, so if you have an existing process, like your document imaging system, and you need to buy new software so that it works better with the eligibility system, that would be considered a new project because you have some of the infrastructure, but you're trying to improve it with like software or I'm trying to think of another example.
Right, that's actually exactly, what we're looking at. Okay. Specifically, but rather a new component to an existing system. So that's as you're saying, would qualify as a new project.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Just to expand on that, we have developed a pilot model within the past few months. And we want to be able to expand these process improvements throughout the county. This is kind of an ongoing project because we've already done the pilot study, or is it a new project?
I would consider that also a new project because you're doing a project in a new area. It's not, we're expanding into a different area.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone? Okay. Okay. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me or Kimberly Shields. The contact information is on the RSA. My contact information is associated with this webinar. And thanks everyone for your patience with our technical difficulties. And I hope to read some of your proposals soon. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your patience. I'm happy to report that the link on the SNS website to the PTIG page is now working. So to access that, you just go to sns.usda.gov, click on the Grants tab here, select that. And then under Open Grants, you have the FY2017 Process and Technology Improvement Grants. And here is a PTIG page. So you'll have information about the purpose of the grant competition, some critical dates. Again, a reminder that the applications are due on June 19th to grants.gov. So brief synopsis on who can apply, funding duration, APD processing guidance. You have the forms that are required for the application package, these are all links to grants.gov and where you can access those forms. And at the very bottom, you have information about past PTIG recipients, just a brief synopsis of the various projects that the grantees are conducting, as well as the award amount they received to do those projects. So, if you click on where it says Request for Application posted on grants.gov, it'll take you to the website where the RFA is posted. So there's a synopsis of the grant and eligible entities. This link goes back to the page we were just on. And if you have any questions, specific questions about the RFA, just email Kimberly Shields. And if you go to the Package tab, you'll see under Preview, those required forms again. So you just click on those, and there are instructions on downloading those forms. And I think that's pretty much it. So best of luck to all of you. I hope you apply. Looking forward to reviewing your proposals. Thanks.